Hey guys, it's Julie, designer at the Quilty Cow, and today's tutorial is on the Tiny Tote. Before we begin, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines, Creative Grids Rulers, Rotary Cutters and Mats, and Wilmington Prints. And let's get started. The Tiny Tote is my absolutely favorite tote to make. It is very versatile with any fabric choice. It's great for all of your carrying needs, and it is just the perfect size. You can find this kit on our website at thequiltycow.com or on our Facebook Lives on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Let's begin by cutting out our fabrics. With this fabric choice today, I'm using a border print, so I'm going to cut it a little bit differently than how I normally would, so I figured we'd walk through it together. To begin, I'm going to be finding a point at the bottom of the image that I would like and cutting a 1/4 inch seam there. And then we need to measure up to our designated height. This will give us the perfect image placement for each side of our tote. We're going to repeat that step with the same space to do our other side. Once you have your main fabric height, you'll need to cut the width. Once again, just following the pattern. Once all of your fabrics are cut out, you need to sew your lining bottom and your bag bottom onto your main fabrics. The way I always remember to do this is to put the bigger piece at the top, that will be your lining, and pin or clip that into place. And then your smaller section will go at the bottom of your print, and that'll be the outside bag bottom. And you'll repeat these steps for both sides of the bag. And then we're going to step to our machine and sew these in place for both sides of the bag. Once again, repeat this for the other side of the bag. Next, we need to press these seams back. I always press to the darker side of the fabric just so it doesn't show through. And repeat that step for both sides of your bag. Once you have your seams pressed, we're going to apply our fusible fleece onto the wrong side of the fabric. And just follow the manufacturer's instructions to apply this. Repeat those same steps for the other side of your tote. Once you have your bag interfaced, we are going to interface our handles as well. Get these cut to size. For inside these handles, I'm just using lightweight interfacing. You could use fusible fleece if you wanted to. You honestly don't need anything if you prefer. I just like the way a little interfacing looks in your handle. We can go ahead and prepare our handles by folding this in half and pressing to create a memory seam or a memory fold. Once it's pressed in half, we're going to open it back up and match our raw edges to the center and press it again. Just matching up those with your little memory fold or seam right in the center. Fold it back in half and give it a little press. Your edges should match up perfectly. Repeat that step for both handles. Now, due to the way that this bag is constructed, you will not be able to hide the ends of your handles inside of the seam. So we're going to fold these over just a 1/2 inch and give them a little press. So they'll have a nice finished edge. And then just refold it. This is the stage I often forget, so then I end up folding it after I have it stitched, and it works out just as well. Repeat that on both handles to give it a nice finished seam. Now it is time to put our bag together. So what we're going to do is lay both sides out on the table. Make sure that you have your lining at one side and your bag bottom at the other. We need to take some pins or clips and match where our seams meet. And this is where I'll leave my turn opening. So leave a 3 or 4 inch turn opening so you can get your hand in there to maneuver your corners. Now, before we turn it right side out, we need to box our corners. I'm going to use my favorite tool, which is the Carol's Box Corner. And it's a cute little ruler that makes it amazing to get these corners boxed. Okay, to box our corners, we're going to reach inside the bag and line up the side seam and the bottom seam, making it a triangle point. Once you have those even on your surface, you can take your Carol's box corner. Now the pattern says to draw a line, and you can do that with a ruler at 1.5 inches, or you can use the Carol's box corner. Just remember when you use this tool that it's on each side. So I'm using the mark at the number 3, and it just lines up the center seam with the edges, and then I'm going to throw some pins in it to keep it held in place while I mark my other corners. Once you've marked all 4 corners, we're going to step to our machine and sew right on the lines that we've just drawn so we can box our corners. Repeat that for all 4 of the corners. Make sure to back stitch at the beginning and end of each corner. Once you have those stitched, take your clips or your pins completely out, and then we're going to cut off our corners using a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to use my favorite Creative Grids ruler. It's just the tiniest perfect one. I keep one on my sewing table at home and at work. And you're going to cut just a 1/4 inch seam away from where you have just sewn. Repeat that for all the corners you've done. Once you've trimmed all of your corners off, we're going to turn our bag right side out by using the hole that we left in the opening. Poke out your corners. And then we're going to close our turn opening just by tucking that under and pressing right along the edges. I'm going to put a couple pins in here to hold it, or a couple of clips just to hold it while I sew. And we're going to stitch this turn opening closed. Now we have the main part of our bag complete. We're going to poke our lining inside the bag. So I always pinch it somewhere in the center and just open it up, and then you're going to just push the lining inside. Make sure your lining goes into the bottom corners. And that's when you'll make sure that your lining corners are poked out. This is how you do the tiny tote. So now we are going to press our top edge and add a top stitch around the top, and then we'll attach our handles. Now your main bag is complete. We need to sew our handles together. Repeat that step for both your handles. Now with this tote, it says to measure in 2.5 inches from each side seam. So I always turn my bag and then just place my tiny ruler or any other ruler. This is the perfect size because it's exactly 2.5 inches. Absolute favorite Creative Grids ruler. It is so handy. With this tote, you have your choices. You can put your handles on the inside or the outside of the bag. It doesn't really specify, and it doesn't really matter. If it's going to look really cute, you can put it on the outside, do a cute box X stitch. This time I'm going to put my handles right on the inside, and I'm going to pin them in place to hold it before I sew. Going right on the inside of the lines I've drawn. We're going to repeat that with both sides of our bag for both of our handles. Once we have all of our handles pinned in place, we're going to step to our machine. I'm just going to add a couple of lines of stitching in. I'm going to put one right on my top stitch line and one about 1/2 inch below that, just to make sure my handles are secure. And that is how you make the tiny tote. You can find this kit on our website at thequiltedcow.com or on our website on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Please like and subscribe for more tutorials, and thanks for watching.
Okay, you wicked cool quilters, good job. You made it to the end. We would like to thank our sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines, Creative Grids, rulers, rotary cutters, and mats, and Wilmington Prints for the beautiful fabrics. Thanks for watching.